If you listen to the previous episode or two, it was recording through my internal mic, so I apologize deeply. Probably sound like shit. I have this big expensive mic, this whole deal. I should change it so the output goes. Nah, that wouldn't change anything. Out of YouTube? I don't know. I might just have to redo those. How's everybody doing? This is the writing process. I'm Jefe. You know all this shit. Just read the filthiest shit I've ever read on the air. Man, just a lot of seed. The word sex to represent organs. I don't know. If it's disgusting or like terrible, please let me know. Chapter 18. Olajung.
They seem restless, master.
Olajung waved off his apprentice's worry.
Don't be an idiot. They are dangerous, like all humans, boastful and oaf-like. They are certain to make a mistake. When they do, we must act quickly.
The shrunken-headed apprentice bent at his master's side and rubbed the old man's scar, its hideous shape pulsing and writhing obscenely beneath his skin. The master swatted the hand away.
Quit that!
He smacked the creature on the face with his barbed wand.
Go! Prepare my chariot.
Pongus skittered down the sandy ramp to the wooden walkway and hopped into a bucket-like Pongus skittered down the sandy ramp to the wooden walkway and hopped into a bucket-like elevator, chunking the lever into the down position. The smooth spinning of the mechanism was a kind of music to Olajung. He adored order, technology, everything simple and elegant, balanced and true. He was an artisan as well as a scholar, and he brooked no violations of cleanliness and grace. He moved lightly on his feet, as if held aloft by an invisible cord. Sometimes he liked to think he was a puppet, dangled from the hands of a wise creator, a being of pure light that wanted only the best for all his children. The disgusting mass of ugliness below would surely meet with his disapproval. Poorly maintained armor, unkempt beards, improperly forged blades. The thought of walking amongst these people made him physically ill. He would be forced to exact a punishment commensurate with their crimes. He wondered what it would be, but he knew for certain that it would be precise and exactly what the Creator would admire. New character. Got a big bad coming up out of nowhere. 18 chapters in. Can you guys hear my dishwasher? It's so fucking loud in the headphones. All right. Chapter 19. Reynolds. Gonna adjust things a little bit here. Gonna adjust the levels of weed in my lungs. Damn. That noise sucked. Sorry about that. Chapter 19. Reynolds. Thank you, Mr. Biltring. These accommodations will suit us nicely. We are not particular about lodgings. The quiet, bespectacled gentleman backed slowly out the front door, bowing ever so slightly. Reynolds turned to Martok and tossed a glove on the table. Ridiculous. If I'd known they'd put us in a hovel, I would have struck a tent outside the village. Martok yanked off a boot, banging it against his footlocker. Inside, various metal implements rattled against each other. He sighed. At least the food's pretty good. Reynolds cast an eye to the plates. They'd fairly well devoured everything. He nodded. True enough. I hadn't imagined they'd have anything we could eat. Martok smiled.
Perhaps they aim to keep us here through cookery.
The two men laughed, tickled by the absurdity of the comment. A knock came at the door. Reynolds snapped to attention.
Enter!
A soldier stepped into the doorway and murmured, Your sister, my lord. Aeona stormed past the soldier, the door swinging outward and banging against the siding. She looked positively exercised. Why did the door swing outward? That's not how doors work. Aeona stormed past the soldier, the door swinging inward and banging against the paneling. Paneling? Does that work? Or just wall? I remember struggling with this the first time. Banging against the wall. She looked positively exercised. Brother, Portillion has made a discovery. She glared at Reynolds' man. Reynolds picked up her unspoken meaning. Martok, stay here. You should hear what her mercy has to say. Aeona squinted, but did not protest. She sat on the end of the bed and rubbed her wrist. Very well. The boy has uncovered a secret. The boy has uncovered a secret. She looked around the small room as if looking for listening devices. She huffed and steeled her gaze at the wall. This village does not exist. Martok threw a look at Reynolds. Reynolds walked in front of Aeona. How? What does he know? She breathed deeply and answered, He told Grundle very little. Essentially, this village lies on a psychoactive fungus field. Everyone in this place is a creation of the mind. Reynolds reached for his sword belt. Of whose mind? I would meet this magician. Aeona shook her head. No, that isn't it. Every inhabitant of this place believes that they are real. That's the secret. If one dreams it, it manifests. That's its power. It's designed to trap its guests through desire. We must leave at once. Martok hefted up his axe.
Then we will fight the source of this dark magic.
She stood and walked to face him. No, you don't understand. Anything we seek will only pull us deeper into confusion. The very act of attempting to leave may send us further into its spell. If we are to be rescued, it must be someone who will accept our release. The two men pondered this new wrinkle. Reynolds spoke. And how can we achieve that? How do I even know that you are real? That any of this makes sense? Aeona's face went blank. Oh, I hadn't considered that. The door sounded again. Aeona spoke. Enter. The same soldier welcomed Grundle inside. He looked stricken with pain. He fell to his knee.
Your mercy.
Aeona placed her hand on his mighty bicep. Speak. Grundle explained that the villagers had begun congregating around the library, carrying small lanterns and, I hate this, and chanting a strange chant. That sucks. And chanting incantations still sounds kind of shitty, but do that. Grundle explained that the villagers had begun to congregate around the library, carrying small lanterns and chanting incantations. When Grundle had attempted to ascertain their when Grundle had attempted to ascertain their intent, he'd been ignored.
My lord, my lady, I am worried for Portillion. If the villagers decide to contain him, there may be little we can do.
The three Lunari pondered the news. This journey had suddenly become a great deal more exciting. Yeah, a great deal more exciting. That's fun. Port, we should go. Oh, chapter 20. Terrace. Port, we should go. Grundle says we may be in danger. Portillion looked up from his book. Terrace. He touched her hand. His Scot. His skin was hot and clammy. She shuddered. Terrace, for whatever reason, the library's protected from this magic. Look. He waved his wand at a bookshelf and pushed. Nothing happened. She was confused. Then even greater is our concern. Portillion shook his head. No, it's not my own magic. It's the power of thought that exists out there. He pointed to the street. The villagers, the weather, everything is nudged by our thoughts. The others are safe without us among them. Aeona's powers do not hold sway here, and Grundle's technology is not based in magic. I am the only one whose desires could threaten everyone's existence. And I am the only one who has the skill and the intellect to catch our captor. He smiled, which I plan to do from in here. Terese shuddered again. He was becoming confident, self-assured. The spirit would not be pleased. That is, she did not think so. Ever since they'd entered the library, the spirit had been quiet. That fucking spirit, y'all. All right. Chapter 21. Olajung. How can that dishwasher still be going? It's fucked up. I hate it. The old man walked among his subjects the way a priest might move through a sanitarium. Generally ignored but given a wide berth. No one could see him, for they did not exist. If he'd wanted to, he could have altered their size, shape, demeanor, even their facial features and clothing. But as they ignored him, he ignored them as well. He was not here to interact with phantoms. His target was the young Lord, Lord Reynolds Stargazer. Martok, have you seen my sword? I swear it was just here. Martok produced the scabbard from his bundle and handed it to Reynolds, strap and all. Reynolds smiled briefly and strode past Olajung in the direction of the temporary barracks, an unused stable near the canal. Olajung chuckled, and Olajung chuckled, amused at the self-assuredness of this young master, cocksure and defiant, as if his importance was absolute.
On the contrary, when my work is finished, he will be as the wheat in the field, scythed and sheaved, awaiting transport to market.
The young master smiled and waved at the passers-by as if he had not a care in the world. Olajung followed the pair towards the canal, where the villagers were congregating. Their lanterns illuminated the artificial darkness, casting a lovely pallor over the gray-green surface of the water. On the edge of the area, soldiers had begun to cluster in groups of 3 or 4, some hitching on their armor, others arriving with belts barely tightened, cloaks akimbo. One of the men waved to the young lord, shouting to his fellows. Beyond the canal, the library windows glowed faintly. The wooden bridge across the canal stood in mute relief, a few torches illuminating the boards. Olajung walked through the crowd and took his place at the entrance to the bridge. Up the canal, the sound of distant whales singing rushed through the air. Everyone went silent. Stargazer barreled into the group, raising one mailed hand to his lips. "What is the meaning of this? I would have an answer." Olajung grinned and clapped his hands together. The sound was deafening. Robes fluttered, hair blew wildly away from faces. Stargazer was buffeted, forced to his knees. As everyone recovered from the shock of the invisible clap, Olajung's chariot came into view, dappled with orange lantern light. Martok reached for his mighty axe, eyes red with fury. Stargazer stayed his hand. Olajung stood, larger than life, hands clasped in a beneficent pose. His whiskers hung low, nearly to his navel, his mane of gray hair framing his wrinkled face. The chariot moved to rest against the shore, its door opening to welcome its rider. Olajung reached out one hand towards the young lord. He spoke in a sonorous, kindly voice.
Young master, I am Olajung, benefactor of this magical place. I welcome you and your party, and pray you have been well taken care of.
The boy could hear Ayana and the Vorak behind him, their breaths low but uneven. Olajung could sense the concern in the priestess. It was not her normal demeanor. Without the goddess to ease her, she'd become more like the girl she'd been in childhood, quick to anger and ready to fight. He hoped that she would act impulsively. It would serve his desires well. The boy captain shouted, "How is it we have not heard of you? Why have you hidden yourself until now?" Olajung stepped onto the grass.
Because I was uncertain of your motives. If you had expressed an intention toward violence, I would wish to remain in relative safety.
He pointed to his home high upon the trunk of the great tree. He resumed,
Now that I know your intentions are pure, I welcome you with open arms. Please, come join me. I would show you the secrets of this wondrous place. It has been centuries since any of us have had the pleasure to meet a human, and even longer since meeting one as honorable as yourself.
Behind him, Olajung could smell the wizard boy plotting. If only he could uncover the boy's plan, he could thwart it. And the spirit inside the girl, he would have it within his grasp. Soon. That guy is fucking weird. Ah, man. Love a good villain. Can't get enough. Need those cool villains. All right. That's it. Send me an email if you want to share your work, you want to talk about shit. Everything is awesome podcast at gmail.com. We're on Twitter at EIA podcast. Let's see what else. If you want to suggest a guest, you want to be a guest, all that. And go to the website awesomepod.squarespace.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, you know the deal. And yeah, rate, review, subscribe, do all that bullshit. Share with your friends. Yeah, that's it. Catch you next time for episode for chapter 22, Ayana.